Is it's 6:01, 15th of March 2022. I call this meeting of the Wellfleet Select Board to order in accordance with the temporary suspension and enhancement of the open meeting laws allowed by the General Court of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The first order of business is announcements, open session public comments. Please note that public comments must be brief and the board will not deliberate on any matter raised solely during announcements and public comments. Are there any?
Yeah.
Okay.
We now have, those of us with chickens got a very well crafted and complete notice that we now have serious avian flu going on. Apparently humans can't get it and canids can't get it, at least dogs can't get it and other canids. But if you see lethargic, for example, seagulls, which I did, it's really happening. I took one into wild care and that was the 5th seagull that had been brought in that day. So you can learn more on Wildlife, Fish and Game, or maybe going to the health department's website. I don't know. Thank you.
Okay. I'm actually gonna ask a question here. Because I've been getting a number of questions from members of the public. Could Helen and Janet just do announcements on their state in terms of being on the select board or running?
I did not hand my papers in.
Okay. I will stay on and that way there'll be one open slot and, you know, stay tuned. I need to get off at some point, but Janet should absolutely not make life decisions according to my needs and it's all fine. Okay. And, you know, new chapters. Thank you.
Okay. So with that, onto committee and community updates. Oh, and Mike did text me and said that he was running late and so he'll be joining us shortly.
He's already on.
Oh, yes. All right. All right. So Lillian Green, broadband assembly update. Can you unmute her?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Lillian Green. I'm your Wellfleet Assembly Delegate. That's the legislative branch of county government. I did want to say that our meetings are the 1st and 3rd Wednesdays of the month at 4 p.m. You can find the information at the county website. This Wednesday, we will be discussing ARPA, among other things, and voting on possible, perhaps voting on possible additional money going to the towns. This is a very complicated issue and if you're on the call, it might be very supportive. If you feel so inclined to speak, it may be very helpful. I am here tonight to talk about a standing committee. I am also on, I am vice chair of the Standing Committee on Telecommunications. And of course that covers broadband. This standing committee has having hearings and we had one hearing and the presenters were excellent. I would encourage you, if you are interested in the topic, to go on the county website, find the link and watch the meeting. There was a presentation by Teresa Martin of Eastham, was fantastic. And we did hear from Comcast as well. And that's what I wanted to talk with you about this evening. We also did hear from Open Cape. So what I wanted to say was we did have a presentation by a representative from Comcast. And in that conversation, he said a couple of things that I think are really important. And I'm going to just put my county email here so that you can, well, hopefully you can see it. Oh, shoot. Okay. Yeah, so it's sort of, it's LILLI-ANN green@barnstablecounty.org. So if you email me, if you have any of these concerns. One is that he said, he put up a chart of the various towns and how many residences Comcast says does not have internet service. Wellfleet had the most. It was 42. But from what I'm hearing around town, and I've been hearing for a long time, it sounds like it could be a lot more than 42 homes. So if you are in a home and you do not have Comcast service, email me, let me know that. And the reason why I say that is because I reached out to the administration and I got an email back that my email was forwarded on to Comcast. So evidently Comcast provides the town with that information. So if you do not have Comcast, you do not have internet service, email me. I would like a list to present to Comcast if there's a discrepancy. The other thing that he said, which I thought was very interesting, was that we all should have the same service as Boston, 24/7, uploads and download speeds, and consistently throughout the year. I do not. And I presume that I'm not alone in Wellfleet. Email me if you do not have the same kind of service that Boston has with uploads and download speeds. And whether, I know my service slows down at certain times of the day, and it's certainly in the summer months, as more people show up, my service gets spottier and slower. If you have those problems, he said to me that I now have his contact information. He said I can follow up and they will fix it for us. Let's go for it. I say, email me. Again, my county email is LILLI-ann.green@barnstablecounty.org. And do follow up. It really is important, and this may actually really help you. Thank you for the time. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Are there any questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, moving on to climate and energy action committee request for a reserve fund for article for annual town meeting. Dick Elkin.
Okay, I'll start and then I'll turn it over to Suzanne Ryan and or Carol Maganaw, who are committee members. Our committee, in conjunction with other committees in town and with the departments, is always on the lookout for grants that we can apply for. Usually our role is to try to identify the sources of funding, work with people in order to develop the town needs in a way that we hope will get funded. One of the obstacles we find is some of these grants require matching funds. We hope to the largest extent possible to match that with in-kind volunteer work or with labor from department employees that they would otherwise be doing. But occasionally we need to say we have some funds available as part of a matching grant. Every case needs to be decided on its own based on the merits and how the town feels about that. And that final decision is actually up to the select board to make a decision about whether it's worth the town's effort to spend the matching portion for the potential benefit. We're typically advocates of it because we've worked hard to get it, but it's your decision. However, what we're asking for is a reserve fund that can be put aside and spent as a matching portion should the opportunity arise. And let me ask Suzanne to explain more about this and Carol, because she's the expert in this.
This is Suzanne Ryan. I'm going to turn this over to Carol Magan now because she was in communication with Charlie Sumner about this.
I asked Charlie Sumner how we could make this available on a continuous basis. And the formulation of the article should reflect that it will stay until it's been expended. And when you get grant money, you're bringing in a lot more money than you're spending on the matching funds. So we would really appreciate seeing this article go through, and it could be used by other committees as well as our committee, as long as the intended use has to do with climate change.
Okay, are there any comments? Otherwise, I'm ready to make a motion. Okay, so I move to insert and recommend an article in the annual town meeting establishing a climate action reserve fund in the amount of $50,000.
Ellen, second.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Janet, I.
Michael, I.
Ryan, I.
Ellen, I.
Okay, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay, and
Thank you, Carol, Suzanne. Dick.
Thank you.
the recycling committee, Lydia or Christine.
Yeah, this is Christine Shreves, co-chair with Lydia Vivante of the Recycling Committee. The select board's expansion of the water bottle ban was placed on the warrant and then pulled out. And meanwhile, we had been considering a recommendation that would leave the existing water bottle ban as is and add a new section, which is section 2 in red below. If you, I don't know if you have it on your screen. I'm looking at the, no, you don't. So the amendment is to add all non-alcoholic beverage bottles to the ban, with water bottles still regulated as less than 1 gallon, not allowed. And the addition of other plastic non-alcoholic beverage bottles reads, it shall be unlawful to sell non-alcoholic beverages other than uncarbonated, unflavored drinking water in plastic bottles of less than 21 ounces. Enforcement beginning May 1st, 2023. So the intent was to target single serve bottles that are the ones that mostly end up in the ocean and on the roadsides. And we modeled this on a New York City municipal ban that was passed in 2020. And the intent, of course, is not to stop people from being able to buy beverages less than 21 ounces, but to buy them in alternative containers, such as aluminum cans or glass bottles. And the bottle ban that was passed went into effect in September of 2021. There are 11 towns now that have it in effect. And there are plenty of substitutes to plastic bottles. Aluminum bottles and cans are more and more available. So this is our proposal to expand to other beverages. We originally wanted to include plastic NIPS bottles, but we were advised that it would be best to address that separately.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain types of beverages that would be unavailable under this, such as sports drinks. I'm not aware of sports drinks that come in glass or aluminum.
Mm,
Well, what we found with the water bottle bans is that as they went into effect, water became readily available in cans and bottles. Cans in particular are probably the most recyclable and most common alternative to plastic. So we're basically trying to change behavior and encouraging the use of non-plastic alternatives.
Mr. Chair, could I show a couple of examples?
Sure.
So this is a aluminum bottle, screw top bottle of still water. And then this is an aluminum can of cold, like iced coffee. This one happens to be from Trader Joe's, but even local coffee brewers like Snowy Owl and Brewster has an option in a aluminum can. And as Christine said, they are highly recyclable. Some of the, whereas we know that with plastic, a lot of it is not getting recycled. Becomes litter.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still stuck on that. There's certain types of beverages that do not come in anything but a plastic bottle, unfortunately, currently. Wellfleet does not have the market to make a producer adapt to our regulations. We're a small market. We're not New York City. But does New York ban all beverage or all plastic bottles under 21 ounces, or only for specific products?
For New York City, it's all plastic bottles under 21 ounces. It's a municipal ban, so it's for the city cannot purchase those bottles and they cannot be sold on city property, which is a large part of a substantial amount of property.
So that's only on basically municipal owned property and
That's
not for the
correct.
city as a whole. Okay.
May
What
I?
are the thoughts of the board? Helen?
Yeah, I was most interested in how many municipalities have passed this. And this is one of these things that, yeah, Ryan, I see what you just said, but this is one of the ones I'd like to send to the voters, right? I'm not even sure I'd want to vote for it or not. I think I would. And it is true about metal cans. And I think we should we should join the ranks of municipalities that are making this happen and send it to the voters and see what they want. Thank you.
Okay. Other board members? John, Janet, Mike?
Yep, I'll say something. Does anybody else? So, the older I get, the more I read, the worse plastic is. And I was just reading about composting paper and how all waxed cartons, like milk cartons, frozen food, that's the shiny part and the water repellent part is plastic. It's probably too late to ban it all, but we've got to do something. So I'm actually for this, and people can just adjust. People can just learn to adjust. So I am for this.
Okay, Mike?
I don't really know. I think that I know aluminum is more recyclable, but I'm not sure what. First of all, I mean, I think these things are better handled at the state level generally because it can actually have an impact on production. But also, I know aluminum recycling is highly carbon emitting, so I don't know really, how much better it is to be shifting everything to aluminum with the emissions that aluminum recycling produces. I don't know enough, and I'm not sure about putting this on the warrant at this time personally.
Okay, John? Sorry, you're muted. can you unmute him?
Yeah, there we go. I was having some connectivity issues, so that I hope that doesn't happen again. It's my fault if it does, but I do have. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am done to death with the production of plastic, and it's the overwhelming amount of it that's ending up in the ocean and everywhere else. But like Mike, I would like to know more about the not only the science behind the recycling of aluminum, but also we do know that acidic food products in aluminum do leach aluminum out, and it's not good for you. So I have to wonder about some of the more acidic beverages that might be sold in aluminum cans, and what the possible health ramifications are. And I don't know if any or how much research has been done on that, but to do an across the board ban on all other beverages, including those whose manufacturers have not used alternatives to plastic, sounds a bit overreaching. I think I might have trouble supporting this.
And I have a question. Why did you exclude carbonated beverages?
Only because the section 1 has, well, carbonated beverages are not excluded, but water, bottled water is excluded. And the way we described the type of bottled water that was excluded was uncarbonated, unflavored drinking water. So the size limitation, or the banned size for that category, is in section 1, and that is less than a gallon is covered by the commercial ban. And that is consistent with the other 10 towns on Cape Cod. The reason a gallon was chosen is because water is readily available, and there are refill stations, and people have water bottles, and we're adding more ways for people to refill water bottles when they're out and about. That's not the case with other beverages.
So I would be comfortable extending it to non-alcoholic carbonated beverages, because there are, I mean, those are widely available in cans. Those products exist on the market currently. I don't want to impose an unnecessary burden on small businesses in Wellfleet. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, John?
Yeah, what was I just going to ask? Oh, yeah, I thought that we already had a ban in place on bottled water.
Yes, we do.
Why is that included in this?
That's already on the books. It's uncarbonated water. So still water. It has a ban on plastic beverage bottles below a gallon. So,
Right, I get that, but we've already banned plastic water bottles under a gallon.
yeah, that's plastic water bottles. It's only for water. So there are other beverages besides water.
Right. Okay.
So, I don't know. I mean, we really need to wrap this item up. But I don't know. I'll try to make a motion. So
I was going to move to insert it.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do too. So either one of us, let's do it.
okay, I would like to amend it. So,
Well, I move to insert the Recycling Committee's plastic bottle article into the 2022 annual town meeting warrant.
Helen, second. Discussion.
okay, I move to amend said article to read at number 2, the sale of other plastic carbonated beverage bottles effective May 1st, 2023. It shall be unlawful to sell non-alcoholic carbonated beverages other than uncarbonated, unflavored drinking water in plastic bottles of less than 21 fluid ounces. Enforcement of this regulation begins May 1st, 2023.
Where is that in here?
That's amendment to section 2.
Section, oh yeah, it's in that, okay.
And
Sale of other plastic non-alcoholic beverages.
yep,
Do you want to,
Can you read that again? I'm sorry.
yeah.
okay, the amendment, so I move to amend said article to read, where starting from 2, sale of other plastic non-alcoholic carbonated beverage bottles effective May 1st, 2023. It should be unlawful to sell non-alcoholic carbonated beverages other than uncarbonated unflavored drinking water in plastic bottles of less than 21 fluid ounces. Enforcement of this regulation will begin May 1st, 2023.
Helen, second.
Okay,
Question,
yep,
does this address your concerns about the sports drinks that are not available in other?
yes, because
Mhm.
they're not carbonated, or they're uncarbonated, so.
Okay.
So this would extend it basically to, sodas, soft drinks, carbonated waters. Yeah. So the motion's been moved and seconded. Kind of a roll call vote on the amendment.
All right, Janet, I.
Don, aye?
Michael, abstain. I don't know enough.
Ryan,
vote.
I.
Helen, I.
Okay, motion carries 4-0. So I move to, so then the motion is, that's on the floor is to insert said article. Kind of roll call vote on that.
Say that again. I'm trying to read our thing. What'd you say?
So the
what?
motion, the remaining motion on the floor is to insert said article into the,
Oh, okay, yeah. All right.
warrant.
Second,
Okay, so kind of a roll call vote.
Janet, I.
Don, aye?
Michael, abstain.
Ryan, I.
Helen, I. And who seconded that?
That was
I-
seconded a while ago,
Okay,
but it was
right.
seconded again by
Okay.
Janet.
Thank you.
So I move to recommend said article.
Helen, second for sake of a vote.
Okay, kind of roll call vote.
Janet, I.
Michael, no.
Don? Aye.
Ryan, I.
Helen, I.
Okay.
I want to hear what the people have to say. Thank you.
Right. This isn't final. This is just to get it out into town meeting.
Okay, so thank you for your efforts for the recycling committee. So on to the Housing Authority and Local Housing Partnership, recommending changes to the ADU bylaw. And Rebecca, can I actually share the screen? Because this will be easier if I do. Screen 2, share. Okay. Okay, and we are accessory dwelling units. Okay, Elaine? Sorry, can you unmute her?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to just abstain from this matter. I'm just looking into potentially doing this in the future, and just that I'm even considering maybe doing this someday. I don't think it's appropriate for me to vote on it anymore.
Okay, it doesn't really change the material nature of the article, but okay. Elaine?
Okay. Thank you, Ryan. As you know, last year, the Local Housing Partnership, with the support of the Housing Authority and Affordable Housing Trust, brought an accessory dwelling unit bylaw to the Select Board. It was passed at town meeting and it was approved by the Attorney General. And then when it actually went into practice, our interim building commissioner at the time, Victor Staley, felt that it would benefit from some clarification that it did indeed allow more than one ADU. So he reached out with some suggestions that he felt would make the bylaw easier to interpret. All our housing groups looked at them and felt they were appropriate. And so we would love to ask you if you would be willing to move it along the channels to have the amendments incorporated into the bylaw.
So is the board ready?
Well, this is the first we're seeing of this, right? Aren't there amendments on this or changes that we haven't seen?
The red is the amendments.
And they're just coming tonight, right? Or are they new from yesterday?
No, they,
All right, okay, that's fine. I thought you said you were going to present one tonight because it wasn't in our packet.
it wasn't in the packet. It was supposed to be in the packet. It wasn't. So, and then the amended packet went out earlier today.
So what's amended? I guess that's before I vote on it. I want to know what's been amended.
So this was on it was still on the agenda, just the text for it was missing in the printed packets.
Oh, the whole thing was in the, okay, so we've seen this before.
Well, the black is basically what is on the books. The red is where the current bylaw is being amended. And the strike throughs as well. Helen?
Yeah, it came by as Janet, reasonable question. It came by, we took a gander at it a while back, but we couldn't do anything with it particularly. This is just housekeeping. It in no way changes the substance of the bylaw. And in other words, the changes don't affect the intent or the content of the bylaw. They just, in a few cases, make it clearer. And in 2 cases, there is no such thing as a building inspector, said Victor Staley. It's a commissioner. So, these are his changes. We put them
Okay,
in.
that's all I wanted to know, if it was the same one, or if it was something new tonight.
No,
Okay.
it's the same.
Okay,
pretty
that's all I
much.
wanted to
There's
know.
just some additional wording.
There's changes in terminology.
The building inspector, building commissioner, and then the original was, I thought it was fairly clear that I allowed more than 1 ADU per parcel. But I guess they felt that it needed further clarification that it allows more than a single ADU on a parcel.
So it does or doesn't allow more than one?
It does. That's the current one does as it is, as written.
And the current one being what we're looking at tonight and voting on?
No.
No.
So those are the words we got to get straight.
No, the black is the current. So it says, so like here, where
All right, so is this this isn't in our packet or in our previous
it
packet?
is in it is in the packet. It was, yeah. So basically here, essentially dwelling units. So instead of just saying dwelling, it says units, defined as section 2.1, zoning bylaws are 1 or more additional dwelling units. So, I mean, it was always more than 1 because you have accessory dwelling units are allowed either as detached buildings and separate dwelling unit, yada, yada, yada.
Essentially, there's no substantial change to it. It's
Right. There's no change in what it allows whatsoever.
I think that's clear enough.
May I make a motion?
Yes, please.
I move that we're going to do 2 things here. That we can move to, can we insert it in the warrant before the planning board has its hearing?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know that. Are you sure?
So we can insert and recommend and refer it to the planning board for a hearing.
Okay, so I forgot the sequence. I move that can I do recommend and insert in the same motion?
Yeah.
Guys? Yeah, okay, board? Yeah? Yeah, nobody said. Okay, I move that we insert and recommend the ADU article. The ADU article as presented in our packet tonight.
And refer it to the planning board
And
for,
refer it to the planning board for a hearing.
okay, second,
Janet abstain because I can't really read this one.
okay,
John, aye.
Brian, I.
Helen, I.
Okay, motion carries 3-0 with one abstention or two abstentions. The next one, I'm assuming, Mike, you're abstaining from for the Herring River. Okay, Nancy, are you on here somewhere? Nope. Okay. Let's see, she has a different motion, actually.
I have a motion when you're ready.
Yeah, I think, didn't she send a updated motion earlier today?
I don't know.
1 second.
Oh, yeah, because Ryan Mayo,
Yeah,
I spoke with her. I just wanted to check the language that I wasn't sure I completely understood, but you know what? She may have heard from the DMF, which is why she amended it. So let's look at what she sent. They came yesterday to do the water quality check.
1 second.
Well, she's got a recent 608 email saying Herring River to open at sunrise.
Yeah, we need
So-
to vote on it.
No, you know what that means? That means that DMF came.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they
the
did.
DMF okayed it, but we need to take a vote on it.
May I make the
Well-
motion, please?
Well, what's the actual motion?
I move to open the Herring River area as defined in our shellfishing regulations as of sunrise on Wednesday, March 16th, 2022, period.
Second,
Second.
Oh,
Okay.
wait, sorry, and to close it at sunset on Wednesday, August 31st, 2022, as directed by the Massachusetts Division on Marine Fisheries, of Marine Fisheries.
second,
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Janet, I.
John, aye.
Brian, I.
Ellen, I.
Okay, motion carries 4-0 with one abstention. Okay, Jay Norton, DPW budget. And there is an updated budget that did go out to the board earlier. So I think, yeah.
Is this what we're looking at, please? Or will,
So, well, there's multiple different DPW budgets. So Jay, can you unmute Jay, please?
There we go.
All right, hey Jay.
There he is.
Hey, everybody. Good evening.
Yeah,
So, yeah, we apologize for that. I don't know how that got mixed up, but we noticed the error last week, and hopefully you have the most current up-to-date DPW budget in front of you. So how would the board like to proceed? I wasn't planning on going line item by line item. I was really just going to highlight the changes from last year
Yep.
with each
Yeah.
budget, if that's acceptable to the board.
it is, but while you're doing that, can you do it by line item? Because we have multiple pages. So-
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. And then are you going to be voting on each separate budget, or is it budget as a whole?
I hope to make a motion for budgets line items 417 through 434,
Okay.
all of them.
All right, very good. So we'll start with 417, which is DPW facilities. That particular budget, you'll see a $19,000 increase. And that is under line item 5300 under contracted services. And the reason why we did that, obviously inflation is a major thing we're trying to factor in right now. And also we've noticed that some things weren't being paid prevailing wage. So that's going to affect our contracted services across our budget. So we want to account for that for FY23. So you'll see a 20% increase in that line item.
When do you have a prevailing wage determination?
It depends on the project or what the actual service is. But if it's a large project, we'll request prevailing wages from the state. We also have a list for just emergency services, but we are trying to tidy that up, and it's just something we need to increase that line item for, just to cover ourselves.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, Jay, continue.
All right, so next section is 420 operating, and you'll see a $4,000 increase there. And that's also on the 5,300 line item for contracted services. So basically the same explanation I just said about 417. You'll also notice that the seasonal wages increased due to the increase hourly wage that we're going to be advertising for this summer. So that was at 60,000, and we increased that to 91,200 to accommodate that increase.
Okay.
The other thing on operating, and you won't see it in this budget from town hall because it's not going to be put in our operating, was the 50,000 for unforeseen circumstances that we requested. Charlie mentioned that that is going to be a reserve fund transfer, so that that's not reflected in our operating budget.
Okay. So for the board members, if you have a question, just raise your hand and I'll get to you. Otherwise, I'm just going to have Jay continue. So Jay.
All right, so moving along to 422, which is DPW highways. That has been completely level funded, so there's no changes with that section.
Okay.
Same thing with 423, which is snow removal. We level funded that as well.
And so because budgets are on the agenda, I actually have to make a motion related to the snow budget.
Yeah, we've overexpended that
Yep.
this year.
What is the right motion? Man, come on. Snow budget. Okay. Man, it's not moving quick tonight. Okay, snow budget. So I move to authorize deficit spending per MGL Chapter 44, Section 31D, snow and ice removal for fiscal year 20. Which fiscal year?
22.
22. Okay. And can you explain this to the, so is there a second? And then I'll have Jay explain it.
Second.
Okay. Jay, can you explain?
Yeah, I mean, as you all know, that this particular account, we can deficit spend. And just due to the ongoing storms we've had this year, especially the blizzard we endured, that really kind of put us over the edge. So that we're approximately $13,000, I believe, in the red on that account, and hopefully there's nothing else coming. But we've looked at the numbers in previous fiscal years, and we try and average that. And we feel that this current budget for FY23 can still be level funded.
Okay, so I'm gonna need a roll call vote. And can you unmute Mike? I'm assuming. Mike, you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering,
what our salt to sand ratio is currently.
We typically go to 3-to-1, Mike.
Yeah,
It varies per storm, obviously.
Okay.
Sometimes we do 50-50 if we're trying to really heavily coat the roads, but it's usually a 3-to-1.
okay. I always bring this up at budget season just because I'd like to not use as much salt when we can avoid it. Saves money and it's better for the environment. And a lot of places are on a 50-50 generally unless it's severe ice. So I'd personally like to see us move towards more sand in the ratio than we currently use.
The only problem with sand is not that effective at de-icing. That's the problem.
Right.
Sand is more effective when there's already an ice coat on the road. So it provides traction at that point. So that's kind of why those are the guidelines we go by. But I appreciate your response and I understand.
Okay, Helen?
Two things. One is the other issue about too much salt or even salt at all, unfortunately, is that there have been people's wells in town, private wells that have all of a sudden far from the seashore for no other reason, high saline, which, the DEP doesn't consider polluting, but it's a problem.
Right.
The other thing is, it used to be like years ago that there was either the state or was it one of our environmental regulations had a mandated percentage. That's all I know. I'm not sure if that's still true. Thank you.
Yep. Jay, I know that we're a low salt area. Can you just provide that information?
What was that, Mr. Chair?
So we're a reduced salt area, is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
And can you provide that information to Helen?
Yeah, I'll get in touch with you, Helen, on that. I don't have that currently in front of me.
Yeah, just tell us all. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. So I guess next one.
Okay, so moving along to, let's see, 424 street lighting, that has been level funded. So are there any questions with that? That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I said this last year too. I think some of these streetlights are unnecessary. Not all of them, obviously, but some of them. But I don't know. There's quite a few streetlights, so it'd be really, that would take a while to look at all of them. So, all right, next.
All right, and then the last one is 433, which is DPW transfer station. Just like the other larger budgets, we increased the contract services line item, the 5,300, 20% increase on that, which resulted in a, let's see, so a $44,000 increase on that line item. And also we had to increase the landfill monitoring line item, which is, let's see, I'll get you so that's 5225. So we had to increase that $5,000 just for our consultant services. We received a proposal.
Okay. Are there any questions? So with that, not seeing any, I'd like to make a motion. So I moved to approve line items 417 through 434 as presented.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Janet, I.
And I,
Michael, I.
Ryan, I.
Oh, and I.
Okay.
Thanks everybody for your support.
Yep. And
Thank you,
then,
Jay.
DPW warrant articles.
Yeah, don't go away yet, Jay.
Oh, I know. All right.
So we have the capital ones first.
Yep. So as you guys know, we met as a group with Charlie and tried to kind of reevaluate priorities with these capital item requests. So what I'll do is just go through each one and let the board know which ones we decided to keep, or other funding sources that we tried to pursue, or if we just deleted them entirely for this budget season. So the first one was the town hall bathrooms. So we decided to delete that. That's not that critical at this time. So that's going to be off of the request. So that's a $20,000 request. The town hall irrigation, we decided to keep on there. After we had that discussion a month or so ago, that's a $5,000 raise and appropriate. The COA HVAC system upgrades were decided that that was a crucial project that we needed to maintain for the next season. So that's on there for raise and appropriation. Fire system HVAC, that's going to be on there. We need to get that system fixed ASAP. That's another raise and appropriate. But the good thing with that is that we're going to be applying for Green Communities grant funding, and hopefully that will supplement a major portion of that. So we'll be applying next month for that funding. Unfortunately, you don't find out until about August if you've been awarded the funds. So that's why we're still looking to raise that money this year. The bandstand, we decided to move that into free cash. So that most likely will have to be a fall town meeting request if the free cash isn't certified, or if it's certified before. That's something we have to figure out.
1 second. Can you guys take down the one that's out there now, because it is really starting to fall apart, like the pieces of pipe that have come down recently?
Yeah, we
in the
can
last 3 weeks.
we can add that to the list to do. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Water refill stations, that was changed to free cash as well, instead of raise and appropriate. DPW truck replacement and the loader are still going to be on for this budget cycle. They're just rolling stock items. We can't defer anymore, especially considering how long it takes to get vehicles now. So we decided to keep that on there. The Route 6 Main Street project, we have to keep on there to keep the project moving. That's $30,000. And the culvert replacement for $75,000, we're putting that in other funds, which most likely will be Chapter 90, or hopefully a grant that we just submitted on Monday through the culvert replacement municipal assistance grant through the Division of Ecological Restoration. So we're hoping to get close to $80,000 with that project.
Okay. John?
Is there any chance of getting one of those green energy grants for the fire department HVAC system?
Yes, that is our #1 request.
Okay. Helen?
Yeah, I'm pleased that culvert grant thing was still going on. Remember I mentioned it, a long time ago when this first came up? I'm so happy. Sorry, that wasn't, substantial. Sorry, Ryan.
Thanks, Helen.
So I moved to insert the FY23 DPW capital budget items as presented.
Helen, second.
Okay, Mike?
Yeah, are we not including now in that, just to clarify, the town hall outside bathroom repair and the bandstand and the water refill station, and that's it right now? Is that correct?
Some of them are being funded by differently than raise and appropriate.
Yeah, I just thought Jay had mentioned fall town meeting for those. So are we inserting them?
We're expecting free cash to be certified before the annual town meeting. That's my last update from Charlie. So those monies should be available for the annual town meeting.
Town
Okay.
hall bathroom taken off.
Correct. Yeah. So that's just off completely. Yep.
Yeah.
The town hall bathroom's off. And these are all on this warrant. Okay.
Correct.
I wasn't clear on that.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
that's- I'll-
can I have a roll call vote?
Jan and I.
Aye.
Michael, aye.
Ryan, I, sorry.
Ellen, I.
Okay, Jay, article, the transfer station facility need.
Yes. So we decided to delete that.
Okay,
That's not necessary at this time. So do you want to make a motion on that article in particular?
no, we haven't inserted it.
Okay.
So we would take no action. Killer's Corner,
Keller's Corner, we're going to keep on there, as it's a project we're currently assessing with NRCS. So hopefully getting some grant funding with that as well. We've had multiple meetings with representatives from NRCS. So we still want to keep 50,000 as a free cash request for any matching grant money that we'll need to provide.
okay. Are there any questions?
Yeah,
Ellen?
question. So Jay, is what you just said, we need to have that there to indicate that we want to do it, but we might not have to spend it. Is that correct?
We'll have to spend at least some of it depending on
Yeah.
what the complete value of it is. But yes, you're correct. It shows that we're committed to doing the project.
And we may not have to spend 50,000. Okay, thank
Correct.
you.
Okay, so I move to insert and recommend the Keller's Corner revetment engineering project into
Second.
into the annual 2022 annual town meeting warrant.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote.
Jan and I.
Aye.
Michael, aye.
Ryan, I.
Ellen, I.
Okay, motion carries 5-0.
All right.
Is the Lieutenant Island? No, that one's not. So I believe that's it.
I think that's it, guys.
Awesome.
All right.
So-
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Um,
Jay.
Thank you, Jay. All right, Hillary. So, hi, Hillary.
Hi there.
All right, so,
Sorry, I
Okay.
can't see. Oh, there we go.
Health and Conservation.
Sure. Let's see. How would you like me to present this? Line by line like DPW, or do you want?
Any changes? So basically for the DPW, they have multiple, like Health and Conservation's one item.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot going on. The biggest difference, and I should say the only difference, is that household hazardous waste collection has gone up 30%. And so that's the only budget jump you'll see in this budget from the previous year.
Okay, and how much is that difference?
Let me see here. So in the previous year, let's see, that's CONSCOM. Give me 1 second here and I'll get that. All right, it looks,
Contract services?
yeah, it's in the contract service line. It looks like the previous year we had budgeted 49,497 for contract services. And this year it jumps up to 52,658.
Okay. So I move to approve the Health and Conservation budget fiscal year 2023 as presented.
Second,
Okay, can you unmute Mike?
Oh,
I think. All right, well, can you, well, you get to him, kind of a roll call vote.
Janet, I.
John, I.
Michael, I.
Brian, I.
Ellen, I.
Okay, motion carries 5-0.
Ryan, Mr. Chair, one other thing. I also do the budget for the Conservation Commission.
Yep.
And I don't think you have that on tonight, but that one was level funded the same as last year.
Okay,
Oh, can we? No, we
no,
haven't.
it's not listed.
No. No.
So, yeah, we'll go back and double check. So I'll check into that tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So Conscom.
It's
Okay,
budget 171, if that's helpful.
171, okay. Okay. All right, Suzanne. Sorry, can you unmute her?
There we go.
Hey, Suzanne.
Good evening. I have several budgets here. The first one in numerical order is budget 520, which is human services. And that is level funded. And as in previous years, it's divided into a set aside of $200,000 for the preschool vouchers, $80,000 for grants to social and human service agencies that provide direct services to the residents of Wellfleet, and $25,000 for the case management piece of our 3-town shared navigator program under the auspices of Otter Cape Health.
Okay. All right, so we'll do it the same as we did with Jay. So we'll just go through all the budgets and then move them as a single item, unless somebody has an objection to it, to a budget.
All right. The next budget is Council on Aging, which is 541. And there is a discrepancy on the salary and wages page, so I would rather not include that in tonight's vote because I'm still working on it with Mary McIsaac to get it to where everyone agrees it should be.
That's 541. Okay.
Yep. And let's see. The Council on Aging budget itself is essentially level funded with the exception of salary and wage increases. We have received our annual formula grant from the Commonwealth, which is a mathematical formula of everybody age 60 and over in Wellfleet times $12 and change. And unfortunately, this year they were still using the 2010 census. So next year we should see a considerable increase. And that is about $13,000 that goes into the salary and wages line and offsets the cost of our chef at the senior center. And as you all know, food insecurity was a big issue during the pandemic. So her work has been huge contribution to people's well-being and sense of being included. The good thing is the state just decided that you can roll over the funds. So if we do not use the entirety of that grant, because it was late this year, we can encumber it and use it for those in fiscal 23.
Okay.
And
veteran services, I believe.
Services are done through the veterans agent, even though they're tucked into my budgets. I have nothing to do with that.
Okay. So I move to approve budgets 510, 520, and 553 as presented.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote.
Janet, I.
Mike's muted again. I think he's saying aye.
Yeah, he
Ryan,
is.
aye. Helen?
Helen, I. Thank you.
Okay, and so that still leaves the COA outstanding. So for that, Suzanne. Is that-
Right.
Yep.
Once I have worked this out with Judy McIsaac, we will bring the correct figures to you for a quick vote. The other piece is I had a warrant article under 541, and that's been withdrawn. It will be coming back to you next year, but for right now, there is no urgency for it. So I did withdraw that article for this year.
Okay, so that's the Adult Community Center addition feasibility study.
Exactly.
Okay. So
Okay.
we'll take no action on that. So then culture and recreation.
The first budget in culture and recreation is the recreation budget. And even though Becky Rosenberg is on vacation in Florida, she has dialed in. And Becky, do you want to present this?
Can you unmute her? Sorry.
I did. Am I unmuted? Yes. Oh, sure, Ryan. I'd be happy to go over it with you. And of course, if Suzanne has anything to add. So I'm just going to outline the changes. And if you have any questions about specific line items, I have that in front of me as well. So the FY 2023 budget increase in the operating budget is due to monies budgeted in contract services to pay for off-season classes at the Wellfleet Elementary School and Bakersfield Pavilion. The increase in the salaries and wages budget is due to an increase in the minimum wage and to maintain a competitive wage with other towns. And I just wanted to say, as the department transitions back to live programming, we're moving forward with the use of the elementary school and pavilion to provide increased programming for all ages. These increases will allow the department to offer 3 or 4 classes in art, music, and dance, and more per season at the school and the pavilion for children and adults. The department has already run successful programming within the COVID restrictions for pottery, jewelry making, and hip hop dance. With the restrictions easing, the goal of utilizing the elementary school as a community center will become more fully realized. So that's, that was the increase in the contract service line for the rec budget, which was the only appreciable increase in that budget, except for the salaries, which we recommended. All of the department heads that had seasonal employees recommended the increase to be able to hire qualified staff to fill, in our case, the positions of rec counselor and swimming instructor. So that's the overview of the increases that were there from last year. Did you have any questions about that?
All right. So I move to approve budget 630 recreation as presented.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote.
Janet, I.
I think we lost oh wait, Mike's still. Where's Mike? Okay, can you unmute him? I think he's saying aye. John?
John, I's already voted. John, I.
Okay, Brian, aye.
Ellen, I.
Okay, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank
Have
you.
a good vacation.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hey, Becky.
Suzanne?
Okay. All right, the last budget is the beach budget, number 699. There is a significant,
We have 660 as well.
oh, I forgot myself, Department of Community Services. The community services budget consists of my salary, the cost of portable toilets, and my cell phone costs. So my salary is contractual, so that's pretty much an anticipated amount. The portable toilet bid came in this year at about 52,000. So that will be what the amount requested will be adequate for this year. And the cell phone creeps up much more slowly, so I have adequate, it isn't up more than a couple % over last year. And that's it for 660.
Okay. And then beaches.
Yes. In beaches, there are two areas where there's an increase. One's in the seasonal salaries and wages, which, as Jay and Becky have already pointed out, the select board approved the increased hourly rates for seasonal positions about 6 weeks ago. And that's a total, that's around $45,000 additional in salaries and wages. I am not sure if I'm going to be able to be fully hired because the hiring looks a little dire this year. So of course, any salaries and wages not expended will go back into free cash at the end of fiscal 23. The other increase is or explanation. I have $10,000 in the small equipment line, and I am planning to purchase drones, at least 2 drones, and get anywhere from 2 to 4 lifeguards trained to operate them, with the anticipation that when you need to certify that the water is safe to be in, the lifeguards can send drones out and are able to see if there's still sharks in the area or not. It's a growing, the sophistication of the drones and the cameras on there are growing more and more able to determine and detect animals in the water. So I think it would be in the interest of public safety to have at least 1 or 2 drones this year to see how it works, with anticipation of moving on to a drone at each ocean beach in the future. And that's it. Are there any questions on the beach budget? It's pretty straightforward. You see the same categories every year.
Helen?
Excuse me. Yeah, Suzanne, 2 questions. So drones, good idea, but the park has a whole thing about how they can't be used during certain seasons because of nesting shorebirds, right? You know that, right?
Oh yeah, I'm aware of that. And as a matter of fact, I was interviewed by a reporter that does pieces for the New York Times Magazine section and on sharks, and he interviewed maybe 30 or 40 people across the Cape, and including people from the seashore. And it was determined that drones can be used if they're launched from town of Wellfleet property or private property. And of course, the lifeguards would not be going over the shorebirds. They would be going directly out from the stand over the water, and would not be a negative impact on the nests. If the nests are cozied up right next to where people swim, then of course that would be not a beach that we would use drones on until they were fledged.
Okay, second question, more important. So you said yourself a number of years ago, we have sharks in the bay, and is the bay going to be included in the drone surveillance thing?
Not this summer, because I have no personnel on the bay.
Ah, right. Okay, thank you.
Except for roving people, yeah.
Thank you.
So I have no way of doing it this year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then we also have the Historical Commission, holiday celebrations, and the Cultural Council. These are all level funded. Historical Commission at 200, the holiday celebration at 1,000, and the Cultural Council at 2,000. Is the board comfortable moving on these tonight as well?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So I move to approve budgets 630 through 699 as presented.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Janet, I.
Aye.
Michael, I.
Ryan, I.
Ellen, I.
Okay, culture and recreation warrant articles. Resurface of the basketball courts at Mayo Beach.
This is necessary. They're at the point where if it isn't done this year, it's going to impact the lower levels, and the total repair cost will be considerably more if it isn't, if the resurfacing is not done this year at this point.
Okay, so I move to insert the repair and resurface of basketball courts at Mayo Beach into the fiscal year 2023 capital budget article in the annual town meeting warrant.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Janet, I.
And I,
Michael, I.
Brian, I.
Oh, and I.
Okay. So Charlie submitted a memo for update on the town spending plan. Do we want to discuss this tonight? That's fine if not. Helen?
No, I don't without Charlie. I had a few questions, but he's not here. So,
Yep. Okay, and some of this we just went over as well. So with like the DPW articles that are being funded. I guess since he's here, Chief Polly, could you just update us on the fire engine?
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chair. And this is something that Charlie and I is still trying to vet out, but my proposal will be, and we're working when Charlie gets back, when I get right on this, to bring the fire engine replacement, which is about $800,000, bring that to the town meeting floor, put a down payment on it out of ambulance receipts, and then also budget every year the lease purchase for 7 years. This is done very commonly now across New England and certainly across Massachusetts. And so basically we'd be able to purchase a brand new fire engine that's desperately needed, and it's going to take probably 2 years to build, but and not have it on the tax rolls. It'll come out of ambulance receipts.
Okay. Any questions?
Sounds good to me.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Wildlife protection bylaw. So I'm gonna, can I share the screen, Rebecca? Screen 2, share. Let's do 120. So this is a simplified bylaw that tries to address some of the issues of, of feeding of certain types of wildlife that are then interacting with humans inappropriately, I would say. John?
yeah, the more I look at this, and maybe somebody can point me to something that I'm missing here. Under prohibitions, no person shall.
So the one that's in the printed copy is incorrect.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. So no person shall feed, bait, or in any manner provide access to food. Okay, yeah, because I was going to say it was starting to look to me like a prohibition on hunting.
Yeah.
The portions that concern me in that respect appear not to be in the revised version. So.
Yeah, the original draft would have prohibited hunting as well.
What's that?
The original draft would have prohibited hunting as well.
Right, but this one doesn't.
No.
Okay, all right, yeah, I'm glad to see that. Okay, that's all I had.
Okay, Helen, I know you're going to ask for amendment, so.
no, I sent us amendments and I would have done it earlier, Ryan, absolutely, except what I had in my packet was confusing because it was the one. By the way, I love what you've done here and I texted you that briefly, so I'm sharing the public opinion in public. May we screen share the amendments, please?
Yep. Give me a second.
Yeah, and this is very good. It's simpler, it's better. This is what drafting is. And I, couched it where, one of the things I tweaked was couching it where it should be, probably after the animal control bylaw in our general bylaws. And the only thing I'm going to wait for it to come up. And
Yeah.
thank you for doing that, Ryan.
You have to give me 1 second.
Yeah. I got very used to trying to mesh it with the arrangement that is used in the general bylaws when Officer Keough and I were doing the animal control bylaw. By the way, John, just so you know, it didn't prohibit hunting in the other one, but I'm perfectly happy to have this other better version. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm good with it, but let's just look at the few amendments.
the way the other one was drafted, it would have prohibited hunting.
No, it wouldn't have, but
So
this is better. This is better. Let's leave that
So
behind.
do you see a different version?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
this is Helen's amendments.
yeah, I haven't I put, it's normal to put, you see the thing about the songbirds, that's an exception. So you put it after the first part, right? And then the one thing that I think is important to add, because it's a modified version of what the park has. Because have you ever seen a kid teasing a baby seal that's beached? I have, and it's ugly. And the park has a very good little section on it, and I've taken out, the feeding part because that's dealt with earlier. And I think disturbance of wildlife prohibited. So hold on a minute, and can you just scroll down a little more, please, so we can see the violations? See, there are no amendments there. And I think it's good that you had a separate section. You had a separate section all about birds, and the heading is wild birds, which is everything. And then makes it even clearer, because some people, they categorize, they say they're turkeys and then they're songbirds, and they're all wild birds, but that's in the body of the text, just as you had it. So that's all. Those are the only amendments. Maybe you could scroll back up so we can see them all at once.
Yeah.
I just want.
So this again would prohibit hunting.
Where?
Because hunting disturbs wild animals.
I don't know anything that would disturb or frighten an animal as much as hunting, so.
Unless allowed by Mass General Law. How about that?
I think
it is allowed. In other words, you can't intentionally disturb or frighten wildlife, but as allowed, except as allowed by Mass General Law. You can stick that in there. That would be great. Type it in and let's look at it.
Mike.
Yeah, that was my concern, just that, and I'm not sure that we need to put it in here. I mean, but I don't have a problem with it as long as it doesn't disallow hunting.
Yeah, so I would prefer the draft that I presented without these amendments.
Oh, Ryan, at least put the feeding of wild birds in the right place, please.
It is in the right place.
No, it isn't.
So, John?
Yeah, the reason I raised this as a concern is there has been an active movement in a number of towns across the Commonwealth to prohibit hunting on town property. And I know this wasn't the intent here, but the people that are pushing these kinds of things can take an unintentional phrase like that and use that as the justification for pushing this. So I think we need to be very careful about the language we use.
So I'm sorry. So let's add the phrase that makes it absolutely clear that you can hunt. Okay.
No, I mean, that's getting excessively complicated again. Mike?
Yeah, I was just going to say that the National Seashore deals with this, and it's like they actually enumerate and list the allowances for hunting in there. I would rather just leave it out completely.
I think Brian's amendment was certainly sufficient.
So, Helen, just for the sake of discussion, but then I'm going to make a motion.
I'm pro hunting. And this language of that section is taken from the parks regulation, which Officer Keogh drummed up and gave to me. But it's a little hard to have worked quite hard very quickly at the end of the day to have this formatted into the way in which the better written general bylaws are in our general bylaws, and then to be told, oh no, we just want it exactly the way Ryan's done it. So I regret that it came in, at the last minute, but I worked on it the minute I got it. And I don't know, it's just doesn't feel good to me. Thank you. But we should have it very clear that you can hunt as allowed by Mass General Law. I mean, I barter for venison, for heaven's sake. I support hunting. And I agree with you, John. There are people who were totally against hunting, and I'm not one of them. Thank you.
Yeah, so I move to insert and recommend an article for wildlife protection bylaw, feeding of wildlife as drafted into the special town meeting warrant.
Second.
Okay, it's for discussion, Mike.
I don't have my hand up.
Okay,
Sorry.
I'm going to
Okay.
put my hand up. So
Okay,
again, this is like the fourth version. So where did this version come from? Because this was not in our packet, was it?
this is the one I sent to you.
It's got different, it's been amended though.
No, it hasn't.
Well, amendments have been offered.
Amendments were
None.
offered by Helen, but the motion is as drafted. So this is the
But this,
one.
this wasn't in our packet tonight, right?
Right.
It was in our packet, just yeah, again,
All right, so I'm looking at three different things, four
But-
different things.
but this is the one that I had sent you. Um,
Okay, all right, exactly verbatim, no
Yes.
changes?
Yes.
All right, okay, thank you.
So. Okay, so roll call vote.
Yeah.
Just hold on a minute. You said
Yep.
discussion. I have one
Okay.
question for you, Ryan. Did you run this by Officer Keogh?
Janet
Yes.
sent it to Officer Keogh, so,
Wait, exactly your language?
Yes,
yes,
this exact thing.
Okay. Thank you.
okay. Can I have a roll call vote?
Janet, I.
Michael, I.
Ryan, I.
Wait, where's John?
Yeah, I voted.
Okay, well, Officer Keogh needs something to hang his hat on. I find this to be imperfect, but I'm going to say Helen, I, just to get something on the books.
Okay. Okay, motion carries 5-0. So with that, we are at adjournment.
I move
Believe
that
it or
we,
not.
Really?
I just
Yeah.
said, I move that we adjourn.
The select board and so forth.
Second,
The select board reports aren't on tonight because this isn't a regular one. And I want to
Oh, wait,
check.
Ryan, one more thing.
Yep.
Can you, there are a whole lot of meetings on, I've got them on my calendar accurately. Can you briefly go over the meetings that we have ahead of us in the next couple of weeks, just so that everybody is on the same page with it?
Sure. I mean, that's reasonable. I actually meant to bring it up. So I would like to have a meeting on Thursday night at 6. Janet has said that she is not available then. The issue that I'm running into is posting deadlines. And Mike, I believe you're not going to be available on Friday, right?
I'll be driving Friday till the evening. I
Yeah.
don't know.
So the other option is to have a meeting on Friday. And that would basically be with the consultant for the town administrator search committee to kind of organize the board and make sure that we present our best foot forward to the applicants for the town administrators search committee. So I guess this is just for scheduling. what day works best for you. I already have a meeting for Thursday posted because of the posting deadlines, but if the board wants, if the board is better with it on Friday, I can move it till Friday.
Thursday's better for me.
So Ryan, if Thursday's good with everybody, this is just about the organization
Yep.
of our meeting. And I can just kind of read the signs and go along with what everybody else is saying. So,
Yeah, it shouldn't take too long. I just want to make sure that, we run.
I mean, I'm not going to be there, but when it comes to Monday and I'm there, I can just follow everybody else's lead.
Yep. Okay, so I'll leave it on that. Helen?
Yeah, and also Janet, you can watch the recording, and if you had questions
Yeah.
ahead of time, you can send them to Mr. White, yourself.
Yeah, I know all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I can't make the meeting and I don't want everybody else to try to scramble to get another meeting because it's hard. So
Well,
I'm okay with missing this.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. And
So Thursday at 1?
I'm sorry, I have some.
Thursday at 6. We can't discuss too much here, Helen. This is just strictly scheduling. So
I
Thursday.
know that. Good.
Okay.
God, I know that.
Yep.
Janet and I have a meeting at 3:00 on Thursday, but Thursday is better for me.
Yeah, so Thursday at 6. And it shouldn't take very long. And then on Monday, I've already confirmed it with everybody. The select board will interview the town administrator search committee's finalists, starting at 1. And each finalist will be given an hour, an hour before the board. The consultant, Rick White, has distributed a list of recommended questions, and he's asking each of the board members to give him 3 by Thursday now. So I asked him for a little bit more time.
Give him 3 what?
Three questions from either from that list that he's provided, or you could have your own, but each of the town administrators search finalists will have to be asked the same initial questions, and that's a requirement. And then follow-up questions based on how they respond can be different, because that takes their responses into account. And then I'm hoping, so, and this is another one, I just haven't run it by the board, is to have a meeting on Tuesday. I'm hoping at 1, to discuss or to deliberate and decide, hopefully on the preferred candidate, so that they are notified before the close of the business day on Tuesday. Does that work for the board members?
Yep.
I'll
That's-
make it work.
Tuesday, the 22nd at 1.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then we have a regular meeting that night, and I'm just going to try not to put a whole lot on that agenda. So
Tuesday at 1, and the agenda item is?
it's to deliberate, discuss, and decide on yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know
aren't-
the exact word.
The Monday one is in person at the
Yes.
COA, right?
Yep.
How about the Tuesday one? Does it matter?
Tuesday one will be by Zoom.
Okay.
Where will that meeting be? The Tuesday meeting?
I don't know. This is when we'll be discussing the different candidates, and deciding, what's the preferred one. It could go really fast, or it could take a little bit of time. I don't know.
My question was the link to it.
Oh, yeah, that'll be distributed.
Okay.
It's a public meeting.
Yep. Yeah, it's a public meeting. Helen?
Yeah, so it's going to be set up for hybrid.
No,
The discussion on Tuesday will be Zoom, correct?
yes, yes.
The just the interviews will be in person.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you. Both of them are open meeting. Thank
Yep.
you.
So, and the interviews will be at the COA. So I hope that clarifies things. So with that.
Sorry, one more thing. The interviews will be in the big room at the COA, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
Ventilation, thank you.
yes.
That
Okay,
begins at 1 p.m.
what?
That's 1 p.m. on the
Yes.
on the 21st. Okay.
Yep. Okay, so with that, I'd like to adjourn. So I move to adjourn.
Helen second.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote.
Janet, I.
Aye.